Hi, my name is Bryan Leow, and today me and my group mates will be presenting about assignment 2 of Database Fundamentals. And these are my group mates, Chee, Jian, Heng, Lovin and Mun Kit. Okay, firstly, I will be talking about the entity relationship diagrams, the original ones, the corrected ones, and the normalized ones. Okay, here you can see the original one which we did in the first assignment. There has been some mistakes that have been highlighted by our lecturer. The first mistake is we have limited the number of teachers to 6 instead of using 1n. So meaning the maximum number of teachers that the center can have is 6. So our lecturer have recommended us to use 1n. And here 0n means optional, but we forgot to put a circle. And on the bottom left, the mandatory part of 1 means each car needs a minimum of 1 student. Then only they will be a transport. And 011 means 11 students can take 1 car. And also we need to put the foreign key of transport ID into student. And next, I will be talking about the ERD, the corrected ERD. Okay, firstly here, you can see we have changed it from 16 to 1n, which represents unknown number, any number of teachers. And the middle will be the circle there. And on the bottom left is 11 for means mandatory minimum of 1 student per car, and 011 for number of students. And also we've replaced session ID and subject ID with transport ID. Okay, next I'll be talking about the normalized version. Before talking about attributes, I'll be talking about how we've added a new table of vehicle from transport, meaning with a 1-to-1 relationship. The vehicle number plate was an attribute to transport, but we make it a primary key for vehicle. And car model was an attribute in transport, but we have made it an attribute in vehicle. And for the rest of the tables, we have removed some of the attributes, such as teacher has a subject name, but I've removed the subject name and put it here. Subject name, okay, subjects, we have subject. And for session, there would used to be a subject name, but we remove it and leave it only session date and session time. Payment, we have removed payment date. And for student, we have removed nothing. And for classroom, it's all the same. So the enrollment part is also kept the same. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Good day to Madam Amirul. My name is Mun Kit, and today I will be presenting about dictionary and creation of table. First of all, we have center. In center, we decided to use data type, watch data type with different lengths for each of the following field. Center ID, center phone number, center address. For the next table, classrooms, we decided to use watcher for room code and center ID, but integer for room capacity because it is in whole number. And for the third table, teacher, we decided to use the data type watcher with different lengths, of course, for teacher ID, center ID, teacher first name, last name, phone number, and subject name. So for the third table, which is subject, we decided to use integer for subject ID and watcher for teacher ID and subject name. For subject ID, we decided to use the format similar to SPM, which is in 4-digit code. For enrollment, we decided to use watcher, date, and integer. For date, it is quite obvious which is for enrollment date. And for integer, it is for student age. And then for the rest, we are using watcher. And for the next table, which is session, we will be using integer for subject ID, but watcher for session ID, as well as the rest of the field, which is subject name, session day, session time. Next table will be transport. For all of the field, we will be using the watcher with different lengths. For example, transporter ID, 5 field length, driver name 40, vehicle number plate 10, car model 30. For next table, which is payment, for payment, we are using watcher, date, and decimal. For decimal, we are using it because it's for payment, which is involving ringgit. And for the date is for payment date, and watcher is for student ID and payment ID. And then for the last table, which is student. For student, we will be using varchar, integer, and char. For char, we will be using it on the subject. And for varchar, we will be using it on student ID, enrollment ID, trans ID, student first name, last name, as well as some student age for integer. And next, for creation and table. For the first picture shown is the creating and connecting to the database, which is called ASGN2, aka assignment 2. So next is the creation of table based on corrected ERD. So next is the list of table. As you can see, the list table command is used to show all of the table. Next will be select asterisk from and then table name to show like the header for each of the table. And for the table payment and student are redo afterwards due to the lack of information. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lovin. Today I'm going to talk about my part in assignment 2. So, firstly, I did data insertion. It's basically inserting all the values to every table. So we have center table, classroom table, teacher table, subject table, enrollment table, and I had made a small mistake, so I had to update the values. Transport table, session table, payment table, and here's the output or the results of the tables. So I used select star command to actually show all the tables, as you can see. So this is proof that we actually did everything properly and all the data are correct. Now, for the next part, I did data manipulation. I did half of this. I did part 1, part 2, part 3, and my other friend did the rest. So for part 1, 2 queries with aggregate functions. As you can see, the first one will be to select count as total students from student group by student age. What this does is it groups the student in ascending age, and then it shows for each age how many students are there. So for age 13, there are 1 students. Age 14, 1. Age 15, 4, and so forth. Now for the second part, it's I use select sum transport fees. Basically for second part, what I did was I used a select command to show how many or how much total fees are here for transport, how much total fees are here for subject, and what's the grand total of both of them combined. Here's the output. You can see the code is select sum transport fees as total transport fees, select sum subject fees as total subject fees, and sum transport fees plus some subject fees as grand total fees on payment. The second one will be view. What I did was I chose to see all the sessions with English subject. As you can see, the code is create view English sessions as select star from where subject name equals to English. So you can see you have different subject IDs. Same subject IDs, different session IDs, but all have the same subject ID and subject name because they only want English. And last but not least, we have a subquery, nested query. So for this, basically it is a query inside a query. Now what I did was I wanted to see all of the students under one specific driver or transporter, which is, in this case, the driver name is Muhammad Abu bin Ahmad. All right. So my code is select student ID, student first name, student last name, student phone number. All right. Driver name, select driver name for transport ID equals to student ID, transport ID, where is equals to transport ID equals to D001. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jian Heng, and I will be presenting some of the queries in this database. So the first one will be the group by and having clauses query. So what this query does is you will get the count the number of sessions per day, every day of a week, if only that day has 2 or more sessions. So that means if that day only has 1 session, it will not be included in this table lah. So as you can see here, the examples. So like Friday only has 4 sessions, you list here. And then next will be my trigger. So let's say if I want to update the center ID, because for my database, right, most of my tables will be having the center ID column. So it will be troublesome if I have to update them one by one. So basically, we just add this trigger. So whenever if we want to update the center ID, you first drop the primary key of the center table, and then we update the center ID, and then we add back the primary key. Now, as you can see here, the center ID has been changed, not just for the center table, but for other tables as well. Here is one of the example. Okay, next will be the store procedure. So let's say if you want to get the student's first name, last name, and their age by using their student ID, it will be troublesome if we have to retype the entire code every time. So we create this procedure, and then whenever if you want to get the student details, you just input the student ID at the parameter, and then the table will be generated here, first name, last name, and the student age. And then next will be 4 queries not covered in lecture, tutorial, and lab. So the first one will be getting the information of the latest n number of payments depending on how much you want using the fetch statement. So basically, for my example, I want to get the latest 3 payments. So here table. So the next one will be calculating the running tuition and transport fees for each student using the partition by clause. So basically what this thing will do is you create a new column, the running transport fees and running subject fees column. And then these two columns will keep track with the total amount of money paid by each student. So let's say for this student S0001, if he wants to continue a tuition next month here, February, so he'll pay again, and then as you can see, the running fees has been increased. So he will be like keep stacking. Okay, so the third one will be randomly choose 3 students from all students using a limit clause. So let's say if your center wants to organize a lucky draw, we can use this, our database. You randomly generated 3 students. This limit depending of what limit do we want. And then the last one will be counting a total amount of students in each subject for all subjects using the case statement. So basically this will sum up the total amount of enrolled students for every subject here based on the student table. So this is all from our presentation. Thank you.